Metroid Prime 4, Dan!
Woo!
I know! I mean, it's a couple of hours since they've announced it now. It's 9:30 in the UK. But I think, like, you and I are both still pretty buzzing.
Definitely. I don't think we can quite replicate or recapture, I guess, the moment that we both realised at the time. But we were both like, Metroid! Oh, Prime 4! Oh my god!
As soon as those stars, like, were closing in on the screen, we couldn't even hear the music. We would have clocked on immediately, you know, if we could hear the music. But we both, immediately when we saw the stars, Metroid, Metroid, Metroid! We didn't hear anything. It was pretty crazy. And then I just fucking stood up and screamed, and I was just like ecstatic. I mean, I can't think of many things that would have warranted that kind of a reaction out of me. Like maybe it's like a Platinum Games thing, like Bayonetta 3 or something might have done it, but they didn't show anything. But just the logo, the promise of a fourth Metroid Prime game, the first one ever in HD. It's like fucking crazy. Like, I know we're just talking about Metroid Prime 4 now, but to Metroid fans like us, you know, this is huge. This is the golden goose. This is what we've been waiting for 10 years.
Yep.
And finally get official word that it's happening. It's nuts, isn't it? There's nothing like it.
We spoke before, like how they're gonna do a new Prime. It'll probably just call Metroid Prime something, you know.
Yeah,
it won't be called Prime 4.
Yeah, that's the working title so far. I mean, if you've read the press release, it really does sound like they're going back to the basics. They're going back to the roots of Metroid Prime, and it's very isolated. The third one sort of made it more kind of action set piecey, and it was a lot kind of more in the direction of Halo, I think. When you compare it to the previous games, there's voice acting, a lot more. You know, it was the conclusion of that story, and I think it kind of made sense.
Yeah, definitely.
It's good that they're going back to Samus going on alone on an adventure. That's what it sounds like. What are your kind of hopes for this? What do you think they do? I mean, I really hope that they go with multiple planets again. I really liked having that aspect and being able to control the ship. I think it would be great if they got some more direct control of the ship in for once.
Yeah, it's true, yeah. I always wanted that more in Prime 3, I guess, when like there's certain sections you could use the ship in, but
if I remember correctly, Retro Studios actually did try to implement that or something, or they wanted to do it, but Tanabe said no, they couldn't find time to do it. They would have if they'd gotten the chance to, so maybe, I don't know. I think it all like hinges on who is developing this specifically. There's a lot of hearsay. I always heard that it was like being done internally, this game. It seems like it might be to some extent. I mean, they've said Kensuke Tanabe, he was a Nintendo Kyoto guy, is in charge of it. It's a new team. I suspect it will be a combination of people he's handpicked from Nintendo and maybe Next Level Games who worked on Federation Force.
Right, yeah.
Because they became his team. That's my theory about it. I don't know.
You mentioned about like Tanabe there. I wonder then if this has been in development probably since Federation Force was released. Because that's the thing of like we sort of speculated earlier, when do you reckon this is coming out? And we both thought first half of 2019. This feels like it's too far off to be next year. It seems dumb to release a Metroid game in the fourth quarter because I think it would just they don't release a Metroid game I think in the fourth quarter anyway. But I just think, how long has this been in development for? I just feel like just because it's a title, it feels like it's probably only been a year, would you say?
Yeah, maybe something like that. I think it's still a while off, as you say, like 2019 is what we're looking at, but just the fact that it's happening is enough for me. Let's talk about the E3 showcase from Nintendo as a whole, right?
Sure.
I feel really positive about it. I know that there were a bunch of announcements where there wasn't anything of substance there. I was glad to get that. It was exciting that they saved the confirmation of Pokemon, a proper core RPG. It was exciting that they saved that for the E3 showcase. That was a really cool announcement. That was a megaton on any day. And then to have that up against Mario Odyssey, Metroid Prime 4.
It's a shame that we don't know exactly what Game Freak are working on, but the assumption is maybe Generation 8. But like I said to you, it feels like it might be too early. We don't even know when it's coming out, so... You
and I were talking earlier, and we were saying we don't think that Pokemon Stars is a real thing now.
No, I think that we said Ultra Moon and Ultra Sun pretty much killed that.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's just a false rumour that's gotten around, and unfortunately Eurogamer's gotten caught up in that.
Yeah.
But I think maybe there is some truth to it. Like, maybe it could be based around whatever that was. You know,
Sure.
we don't know yet. It's too early to say. But my personal feelings is that it won't be another version of that generation. That it will be a much fresher game. I mean, it's got to be if it's going to be the first HD true Pokemon RPG, you know?
The first thing that I saw that made me go, yes, was the Rocket League. Rocket League's coming to Switch. I've been wanting this for ages. It's the perfect system for that. They've even announced it's got wireless local play as well, so you can have like a bunch of Switches together.
I'm really excited about that, especially the portable aspect of it. I wonder if you can like play like split screen on the Switch itself.
They said that all the features and everything on the existing systems are going to be there, so you can do that. You can do like split screen co-op, or split screen like multiplayer, should I say, on the other versions. So I would assume yes for Switch.
Yeah, it would surprise me if they didn't have it undocked. That's really what I'm after there, because I recently played Mario Kart 8 Deluxe using the undock like split screen multiplayer on the Switch itself, and that was really cool.
They also said about like how they got the cross play is going to be there, so you can play with between the Xbox and PC systems, which apparently PS4 no.
That is like the return of arrogant Sony. I really don't get that.
I own it on Xbox and I own it on PS4, and it's one of my favourite games of all time, honestly, and I will buy it again on Switch because I love the game that much.
Yeah, definitely. Anyway, what's next on the list?
They showed off Xenoblade Chronicles 2 after that. We both, I feel like, are very similar on our like sort of feelings on this game, where we want to like this game, but we kind of were a bit burnt on X as much as, you know, not that we didn't hate that game, but...
I've never been that into JRPGs, but I always really try to get into them. There's not that many that I like. I like kind of the more action-oriented ones, like Kingdom Hearts, if you'd count that, but I could never get into Xenoblade X. I haven't played the first one properly. I maybe should go back and do that, but it's very hard to find a copy of it, and I'm hoping Xenoblade 2 is very good, so I can get on board with that. It looks cool. I love the visual style and the premise and everything.
The visuals look great.
Yeah, definitely. I really like the new style, and the character models look a lot better than they did in X.
Fucking horrible in that game.
Yeah, they were hideous. The rest of that game is relatively pretty. Like, we don't have a lot more to say about it than that, do we?
Yeah, not really. I guess they had like a B-roll thing they showed off, like, oh, FIFA's on there, and they had a bit of Splatoon 2 and ARMS, and I like the fact that they didn't actually focus too much on those games because we know enough about them. Like, they're coming out soon.
Yeah.
Here's a B-roll of them. They're multiplayer focus games as well.
Yeah, I think Nintendo has learned a lot from previous E3s. I think with social media, it's allowing them to hone in on what people really want. They want the big bombs. They want the Pokemon RPG announcement, the Metroid Prime 4. They want the crazy Mario Odyssey trailer to end on. They know, I think, what's worked, and they've kind of refined their techniques over the years, and they get what people want now, I think.
Yeah. After that, they then announced a new Kirby game, which I've come out of the blue for me, because they've got a Kirby game in the works for 3DS, so you wouldn't have assumed that there'd be a brand new Kirby game.
I kind of thought they would be, because they generally have quite a lot of Kirby on the go, and that 3DS Kirby thing, I'm sorry, it's just like a repackage of pre-existing stuff. It's not anything new.
But I like the look of this one. It looks like Kirby Adventure Wii, or what was it called over? I think it was called Return to Dreamland in the US.
It
something like that basically, like multiplayer focused, I guess, like the 4-player aspect.
Yeah, it's really cool. I'm very happy with it. The visuals were gorgeous. I'm a Kirby fan. Looks like a pretty standard Kirby game. You know, there's not any like huge gimmicks that we can see yet, like they had with the last one on the 3DS with the mech.
It's nice to see Kirby in HD as well. Like I know we had the Rainbow Curse, but that was obviously like a weird, like I say weird. I enjoyed that game, but it had a claymation art style, didn't it?
Yeah,
so it's nice to see like an actual Kirby game in full HD.
Yeah, it is.
After that, they showed the new Yoshi game as well, which another one I didn't expect that coming at all.
Yeah. We should have really expected it. They do a lot of Yoshi games. True. They do a lot of Yoshi and Kirby, and I guess we really should have picked up on potential of that showing up. My mind was elsewhere, and I was expecting like Smash and Pikmin, the ones that had been rumoured, right?
Do you know what? I completely forgot about Pikmin, and it looks like so did they.
Yeah, I still think that's in the works somewhere. I mean, they've even officially talked about it on the record. To go back to Yoshi, I thought it looked cool. I mean, pretty sold on it. If it gets good reviews, if it's not being made by the same people who did Yoshi's New Island, I might try it.
That is the question. Like, who is actually making this game, I guess? Is it Good Phil again, the people who did Yoshi's Woolly World? Or
I suspect it is. It's very similar style.
I just like how it's this weird like Paper Mario and Yoshi Woolly World sort of mashup, really.
Yeah, it is, isn't it? I like him like going in between like the different perspectives, and remind me a lot of Super Pit Mario.
Yeah, definitely. After that, they sort of showed the Zelda Breath of the Wild DLC, which I thought looked really cool. I always, I was interested in this anyway, but just...
I really didn't expect to see that. I thought that would be a thing that they would show later in the year for like in a direct or something.
Yeah.
But I'm glad they did because it looked really cool. There wasn't a lot of information there, and then they went into the amiibo. The amiibo looked cool as well. There's a lot of cool amiibo still coming out. Like, I would have thought my kind of interest in those would have been dead by now, but I'm still totally on board. I'm picking up all those Bayonettas, and I'm going to be getting Cloud, and I'm well on board.
The story DLC looks like I think it's set before the events of Breath of the Wild, right? Because it's all like the champions, and it's all like the original champions with Zelda as well.
Yeah, that could be interesting if it's set in a vision of the world where like the Hyrule Castle is still not it together, and
oh yeah, that's a good point. Like you can actually see Hyrule Castle Town that's not destroyed.
Hyrule pre-apocalypse, it would be cool.
Yeah, basically, yeah. After that, they sort of touched on Mario and Rabbids, which I guess if you want to talk about it here, because it was mainly at Ubisoft's.
Looks great. I think I'm really impressed. I mean, I've been like flying the flag for this for a long time, right? And I think we were the first people to like name some like proper gameplay details. And I think the more I've learned about it, the more I've come on board with it.
Yeah.
Talking about like kind of the strategic elements, the skill trees, kind of the character evolution, and the unique attacks, and the character and the humor of it, and then seeing it all like realized in front of my eyes. Finally, it looks beautiful. The combat looks fun, and the humor. People had told me that the humor does work when you actually see it, and I saw it, and I was laughing, and I liked the timing of it all. Was making me laugh, I have to say. Even when I saw Piranha Plant Rabbid like smacking her around, and she just takes out a phone, suddenly takes a picture, that got me laughing. I thought that was funny. I knew that shtick. I'd heard that from the developers, but seeing it in action, it got me.
I think the humour from what they've shown, it lands for me. Like, it definitely works. Mario kind of looks like, well, I guess I'm putting up with this shit, so...
Yeah. Like, I knew it was going to be self-aware. It was going to, make fun of itself and that kind of thing. But it doesn't feel cynical. It still feels like it has the charm of Mario,
definitely.
Right? It doesn't feel like it's making fun of that and, like, going, haha, isn't Mario rubbish? It's sort of, it's celebrating it, and it's putting a weird twist on it that makes it funny. The Mario characters are much more graceful. They're kind of real heroes, and the Rabbids aren't. And it's seeing them kind of interact with each other, it's funny. I was always on board with it. Well, not always, but I came around to it.
Sure,
and,
I remember when you first mentioned it to me, I think like most people were just like, what the fuck?
Yeah. This was like October last year or something.
Yeah.
We were like, there's some kind of Mario Rabbids RPG, and it was very strange. And then I think we had the same reaction a lot of people did, which was like, why is this happening? How does it happen?
Yeah, like,
but
if you're doing a crossover, why with Rabbids? Is I think is the main question most people have.
But we came around to it.
Yeah, definitely.
Ubisoft is clearly very passionate about it, and it was great to see the developers getting a good amount of attention. I was initially very upset when they said that Aisha Tyler wasn't going to be involved, but they put the focus firmly on the developers and everything, and that made me happy. I think it looks great. I'll be there day one.
Yeah, I will be as well, definitely. I'm going to get it, and it's, it's soon. So from Mario and Rabbids, I guess they just kind of seamlessly transitioned into the Mario game that we all were waiting for, and that was Mario Odyssey. And holy fuck, I didn't know I could be any more excited for this game than I already was, but what they showed in that trailer and in the gameplay demo afterwards on the Treehouse Live, everything about it just looks so good.
Yeah, I was saying to you as we were watching it before, with Mario, it's one of those things where I guess our limited minds, we think, where can they go next with Mario? How will they manage to get around just rehashing shit, right? And they always eventually find a way to do that. They surprise us in really unexpected ways, and like the hat like possession mechanic, possessing the enemies, and fucking tanks and taxis and dinosaurs. It's nuts.
You can take control of the dinosaur or the tank, and it's just like that is so cool. That's in a Mario game.
Especially like you can like control like the Hammer Brothers. I think that's awesome. That I think it has the potential to be Game of the Year. We were talking about how like it may or may not top Zelda, but I think it will win more awards than Zelda if it is really that good, because it will be fresh in people's minds by the end of the year.
The way that you can become 2D into some of the walls, like a Link Between Worlds-esque, and it's like a bullet bill would get fired to you in 2D and come out the other side of the wall in 3D, and like that was just so cool. And you could take control of the bullet bill, and you could like zoom off as a bullet bill.
It's nuts, isn't it? It's just crazy.
After the spotlight finished, they sort of went on to Mario Odyssey and showed a lot of the gameplay of that, and it fucking looks great. But then from there, Reggie was like, "Oh, we've got a new announcement, a new game." Lo and behold, it's another Metroid game. This time, it's 2D and for the 3DS.
This is crazy. Where do we even begin with this one, right? 2 years ago, I came out with this report, right, and I said, and I'm sorry to brag a little, but it's worth mentioning.
I think it's warranted.
I came out with a report, and you may or may not remember this. I said that Mercury Steam was working on a prototype for a Metroid 3DS and a Wii U prototypes to pitch a game to Nintendo. Lo and behold, this is what became of it. Metroid 2 Return of Samus remake on 3DS. It looks like what happened was they went with that game and they pitched it, and Nintendo eventually, they went to back and forth and they gave them this project. That's what appears to have happened. And I feel like I'm gonna wake up at some point. And I mean, Metroid Prime 4, a 2D Metroid. When did the world become this great? Do you want to talk about your thoughts on it? I thought it looked decent.
It does look decent. It doesn't look like amazing or anything, but the thing that innovation in this is that you've got like a free aim. It's not like a rigid 45-degree angle look now for 2D Metroid.
That's a big thing for me.
Yeah, definitely. I love Super Metroid and I love Fusion and Zero Mission, but the one thing I've always sort of found them, especially Super Metroid, a little bit clunky going back to now with the not quite as free-flowing, I guess, as the 3D like Prime games.
I think it looks pretty cool. I like you have like the kind of like the knockback ability. That's neat. I like the art style. I like the design of Samus's armor, and I can't remember if they said there was a release date for this. Do you know?
They didn't say release date, but I think they just said 2017.
That is really fucking soon, considering like a week ago we didn't know if there's going to be a Metroid within the next year, and now there's going to be one and then another, and it's like Metroid's back in a big way. It's crazy.
Yeah. Like you said, it's like living in 2002 all over again.
Yeah, it's crazy that there's two of them. There's also Fire Emblem Warriors, and that looked pretty cool, and there was that 3DS kind of remake of Superstar Saga with the new Goomba mode. Yeah. It looked neat, but I don't really want to play it because it's on 3DS and I'm more of a Switch guy.
It's funny you should say this, because when Reggie was like, here's a new game, a worldwide reveal trailer for a new 3DS game, and both me and you were like, unless it's Metroid, I seriously don't care what game this is. I'm probably not going to get it. And then when it was Metroid, we're like, well, fuck, I guess we are playing a new 3DS game this year.
Yeah, exactly. So I think we'll just leave it there. I guess my overall thoughts on the Spotlight were very positive. I would have liked it been a bit longer, getting that Metroid 3DS announcement and whatever. I think they could have made the core show a bit longer.
It could have included Fire Emblem Warriors and could have included a bit more length on some of the things and had it as a 40-minute like proper showcase, I guess.
Yeah, and it would have been nice to have actually seen properties of Metroid Prime 4, not just something they made in Adobe After Effects. But other than that, I really enjoyed it. Gotta go back to Metroid Prime 4. I'm just so excited.
Yeah, that's literally a logo has like won me the show. That's the one thing I love the most about this year's E3.
Yeah, me too.